Hi. As we get started in this class, I think it's nice if you know a little bit about me, and hopefully I'll get to know a little bit about you as we move through the semester. So to get started, just tell you a little bit about who I am personally, and then move on to who I am professionally and what my relationship with you will be like in this course. I like to read. I read a lot about religion, about science. My PhD is in philosophy and religion with an exploration of the linguistics of how particular texts have been interpreted, and so I look at the linguistics of that and how that works in the languages. Um, so it is still related to what I do today with interpreting and linguistics, but it was an emphasis on religion. I still like to read that. I like to read about science, in particular particle physics. Um, let's see, people like Stephen Hawking, Brian Greene, that sort of stuff. I don't understand all of it, so I have to read it sometimes 4 or 5 times. But I do enjoy it. It's just sort of a way to stretch my brain and think about things that I don't normally think about. You wouldn't notice it right now because I'm pretty overweight, but I have been into powerlifting and am getting back in this semester. With 3 kids and especially the newborn, a 4-month-old, I just haven't had time to train, and I've eaten too much and exercised too little. But that's hopefully going to be changing. So hopefully I'll be losing some weight and getting in shape over the course of the semester. Maybe you'll see me at the gym. I also like to garden. I like gardening vegetables as well as fruits and flowers, all of that. I don't know why, but I find that very calming and soothing. But probably the thing that takes up most of my time outside of work is my family. You see in the first picture there, Zoe, my 8-year-old, and our newborn, or well, now he's 5 months old, Xavier. You see my wife Kim in the second picture. She is looking at me skeptically. Well, it looks like she's looking at me intently, but if you know my wife, you'll know that she's probably not really looking at me intently. She's probably kicking me under the table or about to call me out on something that I've said that she doesn't think is accurate or true. And then you see my 4-year-old Gemma holding a soccer trophy. Now, Gemma is actually the princess of the family. She wears a fairly elaborate dress to school almost every day to her pre-K, as elaborate as we will allow. But she's playing soccer in that picture, so that's really an atypical picture of Gemma, because if it were up to her, she would be in heels with makeup and a ball gown pretty much every day. Zoe, on the other hand, the 8-year-old, would never wear a dress or makeup. Well, not that 8-year-olds normally do wear makeup, but she would never wear a dress if it were up to her, and she would always be with a soccer ball in her hand, or a baseball, or a football, or whatever. She can throw a tighter spiral than I can, to be honest. That's Zoe. And then Xavier, well, he's 5 months old, doesn't do much except for smile and look a lot like me in sort of a creepy way. And then finally, you have our hamster, Kyle. That's his old habitat. I really like my hamster. We bought the hamster for the kids, but the truth is that's my hamster. Kyle is, I don't know, probably the most spoiled hamster on earth. He now has a couple of those different habitats. It's kind of crazy. I'm about to be one of those creepy people on YouTube that do videos about their hamsters. I say they're creepy, but I watch them sometimes. Okay, so that's me personally. I'm sort of a weird dude, but hopefully that'll just let you know who I am. Professionally, I'm a linguist. That's what I think of myself as. I teach a lot of linguistics courses. I teach some interpreting courses too, sign language interpreting courses. I also speak some other languages and work in those things. Even though I do work, in the interpreting fields, teaching the interpreting classes and some other stuff, if you were to ask me what I am and what I think of myself as, I think of myself as a linguist. And then I also coordinate global issues for the department. In that role, I take people on study abroad opportunities and organize a lot of study abroad opportunities for the department. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. We still have some opportunities this semester as well as opportunities next year, so hopefully we can get you guys out seeing the world. I feel like as a teacher, one of the most important things that I do is expose students to parts of the world and perspectives on the world that they wouldn't get otherwise. Looking back on my time in college, it was a time when my eyes were opened to the fact that the world was much bigger and much more complicated than I thought it was. and I want to do that for students. I don't really have so many answers as questions for you. That is, I can't tell you this is how the world works, but I want you to recognize that the problems in the world are a lot bigger than you thought they were coming into college, and that the intricacies of how people live and the differences of how people construct their lives are a lot more broad than you might think. Now, you might not be like me. Maybe you already know that stuff. But I have a feeling you still have some room to grow, just like I did when I was in college. So that's me professionally. So what does all that have to do with you? Like, what are we going to be doing in this course, and what's our relationship going to be like? We're going to talk about the syllabus another time, so I'm not going to detail the course for you. What I want to detail is what I view our relationship to be, the relationship between a teacher and a student. In America today, or in the United States today, we tend to think of all relationships in terms of friendships or not friendships. And so even parents often sort of have this role of being their child's friend. We like bosses who are really, like our friend, and we like to feel as if they're our friend. And there are some good sides to that. I certainly do hope that we have a close personal relationship, and that you feel comfortable with me. But I don't want to be your friend per se. I want to have a different relationship with you that I hope is more helpful to you than just a friendship. I hope you have lots of friends. I have friends. I enjoy those friendships. I get a lot out of them. But that's not the kind of relationship I want to have with you. I want to have a relationship with a teacher and a student. So in that relationship, I provide you with a couple of things. One, knowledge. Now, there are things you know a lot better than I do. But in our relationship, you're not going to spend much time teaching me those things. Now, occasionally you will. You might have a story to add to class, or something to share, or you might share something in your writing or whatever. And that's cool, but that's not the primary way that our relationship's structured. It's not like friends where one person shares knowledge, another person shares knowledge. I'm the one who's mostly giving knowledge to you. Now, I don't know everything. I might even give you some information that's wrong. But that's what our relationship's like. I'm giving you knowledge, and I'm giving you feedback. That's one of the most important things that I do, is let you know how you're doing. So I need to make sure that you aren't surprised by your final grade, that you're not even surprised by your midterm grade, that you know how you're doing, how you can improve, what you need to do better, and there's no surprises there. I need to be available to you. I need to be available to you. You'll get my cell phone number. You're going to have my office hours. You're going to have my email. There should never be difficulty getting in touch. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to answer your text message, Saturday night at 11, right? I have weekends, and I don't work 24 hours a day, but you shouldn't be waiting 3 days to hear back from me unless there's some sort of weird emergency. I should be available. I should be there to help you. That's part of my role. And I should provide safety for you. You should never feel afraid to talk to me. You should never feel afraid to share something with me. You should never feel afraid to come to me to ask for help, to ask a question. You should not be afraid of me. Right? That's not part. When I talk about me giving you knowledge and it sounds as if something crazy, that's not it. It's not that I'm up on a pedestal and you should cower in fear. That's not a teacher-student relationship. You should feel safe with me, and safe to talk to me, safe to come to me, safe to ask questions again and again and again, safe to even make complaints, to make requests. That's important, that I provide that safety to you. So that's my job. That's what I think I should be doing for you. Giving you knowledge, giving you feedback, being available in a safe way to you, that you feel comfortable and secure to share, to grow, to learn, to ask questions, whatever you need to do. That's what I want to be. And then in order for me to do that, you have a role. So you have to be respectful of the teacher. Right now, obviously, we hopefully are respectful of all people, and you're respectful of the other students, and you're respectful of your friends and family. But there's a certain respect that you owe to your teacher that makes things go more smoothly. Now look, we all know some teachers are idiots and they don't really deserve respect. But nonetheless, because they're in the teacher role, we have to respect them. If we don't, it turns out that things aren't going to go smoothly. So I might be one of those, and I just don't know it. That's the bad thing about being stupid. You don't realize it. So I could be one of those, but I don't think so. I think that for the most part, I'm going to be giving you information that's useful and information that's correct. So please show me respect, right? Just, don't, I'm not your buddy. So that doesn't mean you can't talk to me. Again, we want a safe place. But it does mean that you shouldn't, feel free to criticize me in front of the class, or feel free to, talk back or anything like that. Obviously, that makes the relationship awkward and strained. It makes things uncomfortable. If I am an idiot of a teacher, well, okay, that's fine, but just be respectful of it. You only have to deal with me a few hours a week. Obedience. Now, we don't like that word in the US. It feels strange to say students must obey. But what I mean by that is you have to do what I ask you to do, or you're not going to get better. I know what you need to know to do better in the course. And if you don't do the things I tell you, well, you're probably not going to do better. So you have to listen to me. Do the things I say for you to do. You have to be honest with me. If you don't tell me what you need, you don't tell me how things are going, you don't do your best work, I can't help you. If you're really only putting in, 1 hour a week studying, barely doing the homework just before class, well, that's not an honest effort. I don't know if it's that you don't understand or you're just not trying. But if you honestly tell me, look, I'm swamped. My grandma is dying, and I'm having to work 45 hours a week to pay for my student loans, and blah blah blah. Be honest with me. Well, then I can say, okay, well, look, I can give you honest feedback. But if you tell me this is my best work, I've been working so hard, and you're still failing, well, then I'm gonna have the wrong idea of how to help you, or what to tell you. And then you have to trust me. Listen, I have your best interest at heart. I really do. I want you to succeed. I want you to do well. I want to help you do well. So you have to trust me. If I know that some of you guys have had bad teachers. I know there are bad teachers out there. Teachers that don't care, teachers that are out to get you, teachers that are trying to make it hard for you. I'm not one of those. I can assure you. I want you to do well, and I want to help you. So please trust me in that. If you extend that trust, you'll find that things, go well. If it's hard when there are students who, constantly thinking, oh, I'm afraid of this, afraid of that, and afraid they're going to get burned, but it makes for an odd relationship. So please trust me. Again, when I say I want to be your teacher and not your friend, it doesn't mean that I don't care. It means that I do care, and this is the way that I can care about you the most. This is the way I can help you the most. So I hope that helps you understand what I'm expecting and provides a framework for our class and for our interaction. I hope it's fun. I hope it's interesting. And most of all, I hope that it helps you learn, because that's, after all, what I'm here for, is to teach you.